Am I awake? Am I live? True. I am. What's happening with denims? Beautiful denim.
Come back and move forward with Purdue Global at purdueglobal.edu.
Tools for organic growth. Sure. Fuck it.
Because he
Oh, no
wants to
way.
be in favor of this lawsuit for fair use.
Oh,
because he knows he
the
reacts
viewer
to
snowball
content,
effect.
and it would hurt him. But his audience is
What makes
so
people-
pro-Ethan Klein, so he has to be like, this is really scary, because then what if you can just react to anything? You wouldn't steal a car, would you? It would drop a nuclear bomb.
What the fuck?
Okay, I'm gonna be
I
honest
would
with you guys,
never
I only
do
watched,
that.
Like, the first minute, but I did want to.
But
watch
I'm
it, so-
allowed to. Just so we're clear, I would never do that. I would never view bot. Just so we're clear. Legally, this is a joke, but I don't know. I didn't cover up any sexual assaults. More than I can say about the most famous people on the internet. Suck my dick. Suck my dick. I can do whatever I want. I didn't cover up any sexual assault. I didn't make a career off of being like, Logan Paul is a cishet white man, and then being like, oh, do I have to talk about Gaza? Huh? I didn't do any of that. I should be allowed to. But I
don't wanna
may or
pre-watch.
but I don't. I
I'll
don't
have to
know.
watch it with all of you.
Anyway, somebody got
Klein
sued. God
has
bless.
lost
Beautiful denim.
his copyright lawsuit. It would seem, at least tentatively, it's not completely over, but the story is actually massive. This is one of the most important
Hey,
stories in social media.
Hey.
That's the latest most important story, I must stress. But this has to do with whether or not we
How
can make money on our
to-
content, whether or not people are allowed
How
to
do they
engage
label
in
the
public
interstate?
debate.
How are the roads
And the
labeled?
results of this,
How do they drive manual again?
derivative from several years ago in Akila Hughes v.
How to
Carl
rap?
Benjamin. We
How to
are now
pray?
looking
What the
at
fuck?
what may be a definitive
Jesus Christ, man.
nuclear strike in the social media space, which
YouTube
Nuclear
genuinely thinks
strike.
I'm like a
Rosie's an
violent
Arab
kid
person.
again.
This is a nuclear
This is
strike.
crazy. This is crazy. Look at this. Look at this. YouTube genuinely. My shortcut's not working. Shortcut? No, this is crazy, man. Look at this. YouTube genuinely how they created the interstate, and then I wrote how to drive manual again. YouTube genuinely thinks that I'm like an angry teenager again. How to wrap hands for boxing, how to stay motivated, how to pray in Islam. Don't they teach you that in I don't know, Muslim school or whatever that's called? How it's done. What even is that? Yeah, fuck it, sure.
Why are you so late? 50,000
I hate this
fans
animation.
are waiting
I hate this type of animation. Never mind. It's like claymate. It's like a computer would do it. This is nice. This is nice. You know, we're in the end of times when like people start using AI for like news. Like, why is the news using AI? You know what I mean? You think I give a fuck? You think I give a fuck what you're gonna say to me? This is insane. That's not even how you would hold a flag if it was flying like that. Jesus Christ. Crazy. NBC Montana. Let's see what they're saying. Guy immediately looks untrustworthy.
Small business accounting software?
Not him.
Supercharged.
Just kidding.
For
Fucking
125
racist.
years, the people
Fucking
of Firestone
racist.
have been building products and services with one
There's a
thing in mind:
ceasefire.
to make
International headlines
Cheeky.
now. Iran says they're halting strikes against each other for now. Sunday's breakdown in the ceasefire further jeopardizing
sounds
diplomatic
trustworthy.
efforts to end
He
the war,
sounds
which
trustworthy, never
just
mind.
passed the 100-day mark.
Changed my mind.
National
Nick Shirley goes full moron.
International headlines now. Iran says
Let's
Zohran
go.
Mamdani tweeted out
Let's go.
yesterday. I think it was,
My
yeah.
close friends at
This
the
morning we
Majority
are
Report. My
introducing
best friends at the
COGE,
Majority Report.
The Commission on Government Efficiency. This commission will find ways for our city to work smarter, faster, and more efficiently for working people. New Yorkers deserve a city government as careful with their money as they are.
Yeah, I mean, of Zoran's
An adult
like
grown man drinks
amazing
soda.
public statements, that was I don't get the COGE thing, but he's trying to reclaim it from Doge, I guess. It's fine.
Yeah, he's making.
He's doing a little trolling. Very kind of cringe, low key in my opinion. I watched that. Pinhead was on stream, and I watched Pinhead stream, Mamdani stream, because that's what the economy is now. Sorry, I don't have any real friends. I gotta watch other people make other friends. Hassan's my best friend. That's all I care about. Also, what was I doing? Fuck. They kept dapping each other up. I hang out with Arabs all the time. They never dap each other up.
Yes.
They are actually doing
They don't
it.
dab each other up that
There's a
much. They
lot
go,
of
"What's up,
low-hanging
man?"
fruit
And then
in
do
that
it
sort of
once.
regard. But the
I
one
know about
difference
the
being,
Arabs.
Elon Musk wouldn't say it's for working people. It's for taxpayers. Nick Shirley, intrepid reporter, says this, and I'll read it in the Nick Shirley voice. This sounds a lot like those. Weird how you. And then really, there's a lot of low-hanging fruit in that sort of regard.
My close personal
but
friends
one
at the
difference
Majority
being,
Report.
Elon Musk wouldn't say it's for working people. It's for
Exactly.
taxpayers. Nick Shirley, intrepid reporter,
Nick Shirley.
says this, and I'll read it.
I
in
saw
Nick
one of
Shirley
this
voice.
guy's videos, and I was like, dude, even when I was 16 and my most right wing, I was like, this is kind of fucking dumb. What are you talking? That's not
This
how
sounds
anything
a lot
works.
like those. Weird how
Yo, woke kind of fucked itself when it was like, woke. 2020 was a different timeline. I swear to God, shit was crazy. They really fucked themselves. Cause right, you say this joke during 2020, immediate ableist. Like he's trying to do an accent, but if he does it too well, they're gonna be like, what the fuck? Like, this sounds a lot like Doge. Weird how your own governor questioned me when I was speculating. You know what I mean? Like, that's what that one.
your own governor questioned me when I speculated
See?
the sudden increase in spending in areas like childcare and NYC, and now you do this. Which is a good thing, by the way. Cutting waste, fraud, and abuse should be the most nonpartisan issue in America as it affects everyone. So, yeah, nothing gets past Nick Shirley.
I mean, obviously it's making fun of Doge. Obviously. I just think the acronym's kind of whatever, silly, but it is. I do like what he's doing here.
He's
and
doing
it
a
just
little
showed
trolling.
that, like, damn, you really
I
don't
get it.
have, like, that
Ah,
kind
what
of.
am I doing? Get out.
I don't know. Literacy or understanding that you could figure that out?
I've seen this before.
Zorad's like, shit, I didn't even.
Honestly, Nick Shirley talks like he thinks like he's still teething.
I mean, Matt, it sounded exactly like
Smosh,
him.
am I
It's
the
barely an
asshole?
exaggeration.
Benevolent?
Is he allowed to drive a car?
What does benevolent mean?
Jesus. There's no, like, smaller one?
I mean,
I'm sure Peter Thiel gave him
oh,
a driver.
yes. We don't have to worry about it anymore.
Compilation. Am I the asshole? Compilation.
I can't
True.
get over the time that
True.
some Nazi that he follows was showing videos of Orthodox Jews like doing something.
One KFC Supergirl Ultimate Meal.
Instructions say leave on ledge.
The KFC Supergirl Ultimate
I like that.
Meal
They
is
take
the
someone
three
objectively
heroic
pretty and
Supergirl-
put glasses on her, and they're like, what?
It comes from Coworker Stories. It was posted September of 2025.
Ooh.
I'm a coworker of someone whose Reddit story about work went viral. I'm feeling chatty, so AMA, I guess.
Ooh.
Inspired by this
He put his dick in the fryer.
post,
No,
the
I'm
post
just
we
kidding.
just read, someone asked if they'd ever seen a Reddit post about themselves. I'm in the comments because I worked at the same company as this guy and in the same department as his affair partner who died under very sad circumstances. You can read all about it from his perspective conveniently. I only joined Reddit quite recently, but I was aware of the post a few weeks after it was made because it was passed around the office and gave us all a ton of information, which made a lot of things suddenly make sense. We were all extremely invested at the time, and weirdly, the story you all saw set off a series of events which basically led to an entire division of the company quitting. Oh my God, I'm so excited!
Jesus Christ, I am a gossipy little bitch. I'm not gossipy, Mason. Never mind. No, I'm not. I collect information. I'm basically a spy. That doesn't count. Those are two different
Oh my
things.
God. I've seen it repeated on a few of those TikTok Reddit read-through accounts, and a few people in the comments of the post I saw earlier today seemed interested. So because the company didn't think to get me to sign any additional confidentiality agreements when I left, an equally dramatic but also closely related story, I figured I'd spend a Friday
God, Shane is fucking jacked.
night drinking wine and spilling tea if anyone wants.
God, Shane is fucking jacked. The YOLO guy. The guy who dressed up like a weird statue and threw chips at people. Jesus Christ.
Is a godsend.
We want.
Is one thing I do need to mention is that the original OP has a brain injury he didn't disclose in his posts. I can't speculate too much on that, but I'm not saying it makes his actions forgivable. But it'd be crazy to pretend it's not a factor. He lives independently, but from what I'm aware, his brother helps him a lot. Okay. Wow.
He hallucinated the whole affair. He
All
was
right,
having
so
sex
these are
with his
all
office
comments
cactus.
with responses from OP. Did it
That's kind of
brother
funny.
help? Crazy to pretend it's much on. He has a brain in
Hang
it,
on,
drinking
that's
wine
kinda
and
funny.
spilling tea if anyone wants some.
That's
This
kinda funny.
person
We
is
want. Let's
a
clip that, let's clip
godsend.
that.
We want.
Is one thing I do need to mention is that the original OP has a brain injury he didn't disclose in his posts. I can't speculate too much on that.
The office affair was a schizophrenic guy just having sex with like a plant in the fucking lobby.
But I'm not saying it makes his actions forgivable, but it'd be crazy to pretend it's not a fact. He lives independently, but from what I'm aware, his brother helps him a lot. Okay. Wow. All right, so these are all comments with responses from OP. Did it end up going to court? No, they all used to abuse their expenses, and they knew he could bury everyone if it ever saw the inside of a courtroom. He claimed to be running out of money in his last post, but it was common knowledge he got a huge payout after his accident. A sign wasn't properly mounted on a shop front, and it fell on him when he was walking past. So
This fucking Looney Tunes
he
ass.
could have
what the
easily
fuck?
afforded to take it all the way. So I imagine the first question would have been why they gave someone with brain damage a company card with no restrictions and no written policy on what they could and couldn't use it for. So the company at large was corrupt. Any chance he could have spent the payout all on Amy or on drugs? I mean, I guess there's a good chance his wife would have noticed, but he obviously hadn't been thinking clearly. Corrupt. Any chance he could have spent the payout all on Amy or on drugs?
Okay, hot take.
I mean, I guess there's a good chance his wife would have noticed, but he obviously had.
I mean, here's the thing. Most men are not like Academy Award winning actors, you know what I mean? Despite what the TikTok Substack maxers want to tell you. I know. What? The reason you found that piece of shit relatable is because you have some uncomfortable introspection to do.
Been thinking clearly for a long
Not even a
time.
hot take. That's just a
OP
normal
said
take for
definitely not
adults.
drugs. He drank in moderation, but was pretty judgmental about anything else. Amy, absolutely. He spent thousands and thousands on her. She would link him to things over and over again until he bought them for her. The HR guys were disgusted when they got the phone back and saw all the messages. I haven't seen the messages myself, but they
Good for Amy.
said
Fuck.
enough to confirm it was extremely predatory.
Wait. Say that part again, sorry.
I haven't seen. The HR guys were disgusted when they got the phone back and saw all the messages.
So what whose phone and what?
OP's messages
OP
to
messages to her.
Amy.
I haven't seen the messages myself, but they said enough to confirm it was extremely predatory.
Got it.
Maybe I'm
Good for Amy.
misreading
As
this,
she
but it
should.
seems like they're saying Amy was like sending links, like getting him to spend money on her.
That's what it sounded like.
Did any of you know she was having an affair
interesting.
before it all imploded? Did you attend her funeral? What's coworker doing now? We had no idea. They didn't work together directly and didn't have any reason to interact much in the office. The pairing didn't make sense to any of us. You'd never put them together in a million years. She had one friend in the office who attended the funeral and who was dismissed because of the content of their messages to each other. She was in the kind of role that can make or break a project, even though she had absolutely no talent, experience, or interest. That mystery was obviously solved pretty quickly after she died. So even though it's objectively super shitty, we were basically relieved because we wouldn't have to deal with it anymore. For context, she was project managing a team of physicists and electrical engineers on a pretty
Jesus
heavy
fucking
government-backed project, and she was initially hired as an office admin. So even though it's objectively super shitty, we were basically relieved because we wouldn't have to deal with it anymore. For context, she was project managing a team of physicists and electrical engineers on a pretty heavy government-backed project, and she was initially hired as an office admin assistant with zero previous experience.
Jesus Christ, son. Being a project manager for a government contract and still being a scammer, respect. Respect to the
Experience. We were all surprised by the promotion, but it was the kind of company you could build your way up in, so it just seemed like a misstep. Former coworker hasn't worked since, from what I know. He's living independently in what I'm vaguely aware of being a retirement-type community. But his brother deals with his finances and helps him out with general life stuff. He's allowed to drive and stuff, so he's obviously fine in the ways that matter, but I'm not sure he'll work again. Someone said he never mentioned the traumatic brain injury in his post. In your opinion, did he think of his abilities as diminished post-accident? Do you think he could see any of his new shortcomings? Your company wrapped him in cotton wool to protect him, it seems. Was he aware of any of these accommodations? I wonder because the traumatic brain injury makes his actions seem far less callous than if he had all his faculties. His personality definitely changed significantly. He can hold a conversation and his knowledge level remained extremely high, but he became quite immature and couldn't deal with anything if he wasn't expecting it. He could provide really insightful feedback about something we were working on, then 2 minutes later lose his temper or shut down completely because he'd spilled a drink. He had to step back from dealing with clients because he couldn't be trusted. He'd just say yes to whatever they asked for, and it led to a few nasty surprises. He didn't take any new clients after the injury, so they were generally very understanding because they saw the same changes we did. It's tough to explain. If you met him on a good day, you could spend a few hours with him and not realize. But any more than that, and you'd almost certainly go through, oh, that was a bit odd, to, okay, there's definitely something wrong here. To my knowledge, no
Dude, that is so fucking scary. When you're, hang on,
day,
dude,
you
that
could spend
is-
a few hours with him and not realize. But any more than that, and you'd almost certainly go through, oh, that was a bit odd, to, okay, there's definitely something wrong here.
Dude, that is so fucking scary. Like when people just randomly, like that feeling of like, hang on, this guy's a little weird. You know what I mean? That's so great. Cause I've like walked by homeless people that are like walking, and then like they'll be walking, and then they just look right at you, and you're like, fuck. Now what do I do? What do I do? What do I do?
To my knowledge, nobody tried to figure out
I guess I'll keep
how
walking.
aware he was of the brain injury. The key phrase drummed into us when he started coming back to the office a bit was, meet him where he is. And he was a really well-respected member of the team, so we were all really sympathetic to the situation. I did hear him make a few comments about his brain being broken, but they were fairly lighthearted and mainly centered around him forgetting small things.
This sucks.
This sucks a lot.
Unfortunately, it does kind of change a lot, too.
It absolutely. Now it shifts from him being predatory
That's good
to her
sports.
being
Gimme.
predatory, using the brain injury to not only climb up through the company, but manipulate him financially.
Yeah.
Good for her.
And I don't know if the
What are you,
timeline lines up
sexist?
as well, but I'm feeling like I'm going back to the other story of him having this happy marriage and this daughter, and then I feel like he said, like, but about a year ago I fell for somebody else. Like, that also just feels like that complete behavior change
Yeah.
has to do with that, these choices that he's making, and the
Hang on. Why? I'm a
Sometimes I
communist.
just
Let's
want
figure
what
this
I
out.
want right now. You know?
Right here, right now.
So, I'm asked this question all the time. Why are you a communist? What's your communist identity and what's your communist belief? And I'm only a communist as a scientist of the current system. As a social scientist, you just start to see patterns. You start to see things, different isms, different ists that exist in other isms and other ists. When you get down to the core, it's all
She said town instead of down. Opinion
about
rejected.
power. And not just everyone seeking power from everyone else, but just one specific group of people looking to retain power over everyone else. And we can look at this starting with racism. Why does racism exist?
But not sexism. Fake feminist.
What made this
Just
so
kidding.
popular? Well, it was
The
easy.
fuck
We
was that lady
needed a
doing? I
reason
forgot. Never
that
mind,
made it
whatever.
okay to enslave an entire group of human beings in a nation that was Christian. Okay. And what was the purpose of slavery? To amass a bunch of wealth for a couple people who happened to be white. Okay? And it wasn't just the entire white population. So the whole white population needed a reason to justify this one thing. Slaves that wouldn't even be theirs. And so
True.
it was the perfect psyop, right? It was a reason for individuals in a
damn
system where they
started.
lack power to feel superior. Okay?
True.
So there's a transfer of power in that way. And it was a means for us to just, for
What is this?
a
Oh,
group of
God.
people, a small group of people, to
Go away.
amass
Go away.
the amount of power necessary to sustain capitalism. Okay, well, what is capitalism?
What is
Well,
capitalism?
capitalism is a
True. What is
system
capitalism?
that tells us that certain individuals have a right to own the things that we need to survive. And because they have this right to own things that we need to survive, the only thing that we can do to sustain
Oh my
ourselves
God.
is to sell our labor on their property so that they can, stay rich and we get a fraction of that value that we produce back to us. And you can really understand this by thinking about like the shoes that you wear every day. You probably don't really know where they come from, besides the made in China label on the back.
Yes,
them,
yes,
but
yes.
when you think about the leather that they might have used to be, they wouldn't have been as valuable to you, right? It was the labor that was applied to them
Oh my
that
God.
made it so.
Yeah, see, you're talking about watch as a communist. Here's a quick detour. You should never. The worst thing you can do as as a child of immigrant is like airplay something to your parents, to like the TV for your parents, because as soon as you put that phone down, guess what? Immediately ads are gonna pop up on your fucking TV. Hentai pussy. Now I have to explain to my 70-year-old father who's from India what cartoon porn is. Like, what the fuck was that? I had to jump in front of the TV and I had to fuck. God, all I'm trying to do is watch the game. All I want to do is watch the game. Anyway, back to communism.
They were wearable, and so you had interest, and so you decided to give your money a physical representation of value to these people, right? Cool. So it's labor power that makes it so products have use value. And despite the fact that there are individuals that we can directly attribute this value from, this labor power to, they only receive a fraction of what you spend. And the rest of that value goes to people who own this property. And when you can think about that slavery that we talked about in the beginning, the only reason they own these materials like the leather or like the land that was used to create these things that we need every day, it's because they said so. Okay? That's the entire system. It's because they said so. To create these things that we need every day, it's because they said so.
That was definitely my apartment.
Okay? That's the entire system. And when you look at gender, well, gender is this opposing, or I would say parallel power structure to race that works to make it so men have a reason to feel valuable. Because when you like look at it, like you really have to start from the base level. Us as all like individuals and the human beings. We have desires, okay? And from our desires, we act. When you're hungry, you have a want. You want to eat food, okay?
True.
But that's only at the base level, like for like bodily sustenance, because we have so many neurons, so many connections going on in our brains, because we're like the brain of like a fish, supercharged. We have wants at multiple different levels, and the higher order levels are levels that have to do with like ourselves and our concepts of like who we are versus who everyone else is.
This is where they start to lose me. This is where they start to lose me. Instead of just being like, well, after these like this is where like communists. Hang on, now I gotta fucking
Different
clip
levels,
farm.
and the higher order levels are levels that have to do with like ourselves and
Communism.
our concepts of like who we are versus who everyone else is. So we don't just have like these wants about like food and
No, I don't
water
want
and shelter.
porn, I wanna watch the
We also have
game.
wants in regards to like ourselves and what impact we make in life and other people's lives. Like we want to make meaning. That's one of our higher order
See,
wants
this
that come
is where like
from
communists lose me. You know what I mean? Like instead of just being like, what are like the systems, right? It's like, wouldn't that like then? So the individual rights, gather them together. They then steamroll into like how society should work. I don't know. I'm not a communist, but I don't view them as
the
threats.
gift
God bless.
of evolution.
God bless.
Okay?
Subscribe to me on
And
Twitch.
so-
It's on Twitch.
The most natural way to fulfill these wants is to make something from ourselves, right? Is to see our actual value in real time by applying our labor to something in front of us to create something. It's like you can do this through art or through mending or through sewing or
got the
through
fucking game.
baking, okay?
Yes.
But oftentimes in the system where power is devoid from the
Money.
people who do actual labor, we don't get to see our worth in real time, okay? So we need these external modulators, these external determinants of value, okay? And they're told to
Oh, look
us.
at
Here's
that.
the
He's
other
at the
problem.
game.
We're meaning-making machines.
Why is he saluting?
These greats that we talk about are just like 1% of the population who have tapped
Why the
into
fuck
this
is he
knowledge and
saluting?
realized that meaning is something that we can create. And so they
yes.
flourished. And so
I
you
wasn't
have
paying
people that we quote like the Einsteins and the philosophers and the musicians
not really
who have
getting
done
into it.
great things. And we,
You're not really getting into it, man.
and the rest of our society, the rest of our
Trans is
population
punk.
is just almost
Yeah, cutting your
consuming the
dick off.
remnants.
Look at this shit. Look at this shit. How to be a communist. Why I'm a communist. Whatever. I'll figure that out later. And then they go trans is punk. Low-key, cutting your dick off, kind of hardcore. Not gonna lie. Do they know? Let's watch this.
When it was time to add my son to our car insurance, I was scared to even think about my wallet. But instead, with Drive Easy on the Geico app, my son's safe driving score saved us even more.
It feels
Every wild animal carries a threat assessment running constantly in the background. Speed of approach, direction, eye contact. The calculation happens faster than thought, and the output is almost always the same. Get away from the human. This is not instilled through learning. It runs in species that have never encountered a human before. Tested in controlled conditions, confirmed across dozens of wildlife studies. The threat response to humans appears to be encoded at a level deeper than individual experience. It is inherited. When we rescue a trapped animal, cutting the net,
Damn it. I fucked up. I fucked
never
up the thing. I
encountered a
fucked up the
human
thing.
before. Tested in controlled conditions, confirmed across dozens of wildlife studies. The threat response to humans appears to be encoded at a level deeper than individual experience. It is
Aww. I don't want dogs to be scared of me. They're not. They just run up to me. I don't know what the fuck that is. I have the exact opposite of this. I don't know how that happened. Random people walk up to me for help. When I first moved to Virginia, random old white people, they're asking me for help. I just got here, buddy. I mean, I did, but like, fucking, I don't know. The fact that old white people are like, hey, that guy, that young man seems good. That's all I need to know. I'm chilling. I look nice again.
inherited. When we rescue a trapped animal, cutting the net, pulling it from the mud, freeing it from the snare, we tend to assume the animal understands what's happening. The research suggests otherwise. Something else is going on, and scientists who have spent careers studying it are still working out what to call it. Start with what being trapped does to the body. The moment a
penis
wild
factor.
animal loses the ability to move, its physiology enters a state with no real human equivalent. Cortisol saturates the bloodstream. Adrenaline climbs to levels that would be lethal if sustained for more than a few minutes. Heart rate doubles, then doubles again. A study in the European Journal of Wildlife Research found that ungulates caught in fencing show higher cortisol concentrations than animals injured by gunshot or struck by again. A study in the European Journal of Wildlife Research found that ungulates caught in fencing show higher cortisol concentrations than animals injured by gunshot or
High cortisol, low cortisol meme. Looks maxing elk or whatever this is. Anyway,
struck by
back to the
vehicles,
video.
higher than being shot. The body is burning through every reserve it has, running
than being
every
shot,
emergency system at once, doing what animals have
Whoa,
done in
they got the
moments like
cheerleaders
this
out,
for
huh?
longer than the species has existed, waiting to die or fighting until it can't. From the outside, this state has a specific look. Pupils fully dilated, muscles rigid, not tense the way a nervous animal is tense, but locked, the way a body locks when it has committed everything to a single outcome. The mouth may open slightly. Breathing becomes shallow and very fast. Wildlife rehabilitators describe it as the animal going somewhere else, still present in the body, but no longer
that.
attending to anything that isn't the immediate threat. So when a human walks toward a trapped animal, the animal doesn't read rescuer. It reads the arrival of an apex predator at the worst possible moment. This is why the
Ooh.
thrashing gets worse the closer you get. The animal's threat system interprets
True.
proximity as the final phase of a hunt. It spends its last energy on the only response its history has ever given it. And
That's
then,
why I
in
chose
some
out
of
for
these
a second.
encounters,
This
something
is true.
shifts. The animal goes still. Not from exhaustion, something more deliberate than that. The shift is visible when it happens.
Yeah.
Field researchers and wildlife rehabilitators who have seen it describe a specific transition. The rigid locked body softens fractionally, the frantic motion stops, and the animal orients. Not away from the human, toward them. It holds that position and watches. In December 2005, a crab fisherman found a female humpback whale tangled in rope lines
Humpback.
18
Ooh.
miles off San Francisco. The ropes were wrapped
Humpback
around her
whale.
mouth, her pectoral fins, her tail. 12 crab traps,
Hump-
90 pounds each,
humpback
hung
whale.
off her body and pulled her
That's
down.
what your mom
She was fighting
says. That's what
constantly
your
just
mom
to keep
is.
her blowhole above
Fuck.
the surface. A rescue team arrived
Blowhole?
within hours.
No.
4 divers entered the water carrying curved knives, knowing a single reflexive movement from her tail could kill any of them. She stopped moving the moment they entered the water. For over an hour, she held position at the surface while the divers worked around her body. At several points, she repositioned herself, rotating, extending a fin, adjusting her angle, in ways that gave the divers researchers better access to the lines they were cutting. A
Dope.
50-foot, 50-ton animal chose to hold still while strangers with knives worked across her body. The explanation researchers favor has to do with threat pattern recognition. A predator closing in moves fast with aggression, closing distance in a direct line. That specific movement pattern researchers favor has to do with threat pattern recognition. A predator closing in moves fast with aggression, closing distance in a direct line. That specific
Imagine being a wildlife helper and be like, I'm trying to help you, I'm trying to help you. Just running up to them.
movement pattern is what a trapped
Like an
animal's
idiot.
alarm system has been calibrated to detect across
always the most
millions of
insane
years
looking
of
people in New
evolution.
York.
A human trying to help moves differently, slowly, without sudden gestures, touching the trap instead of the animal, producing no sounds that match anything in the threat catalog. The brain searches its entire library of threat signatures and comes back empty. With no recognized pattern to respond to, the crisis response stalls. The animal waits. In Yellowstone, a research team found a
I feel like humans do this too.
wolf in a leg-hold trap. The wolf lunged and snapped at every approach, exactly what the biology predicts. One researcher stopped moving and held eye contact with the animal without looking away. Eye contact between predator and prey carries specific weight in mammal communication. Predator approaching to kill does not typically hold steady eye contact. It watches the prey's movement, tracks the body, calculates. Sustained direct eye contact that doesn't accompany aggression or movement is a signal that sustained steady eye contact. It watches the prey's movement, tracks the body, calculates. Sustained direct eye contact that doesn't accompany aggression or movement is a signal that sits outside the standard predator threat template.
Ooh. Animals are ableist. Fuck you, autistic people. Can't hold eye contact with a wolf in a trapped in a cage. You'll never be able to help it. Sorry. That's just
Some
science.
researchers believe it may read as a form of social engagement rather than a hunt posture. The animal's alarm system, already searching for a pattern that matches a predator, encounters something it wasn't built to classify. After several minutes, the wolf stopped lunging. It sat down. It held the eye contact back. When the team began working on the trap, the wolf watched their hands. When the trap released, it stood still for a moment, looked directly at the researcher, then walked into the tree line. Field researchers describe this as suspension of threat response rather than anything more loaded. The alarm system doesn't switch off. It loses its anchor point. The expected sequence of predator behavior never arrives, and the crisis response has nothing to lock onto. The harder question is what happens after the trap opens. When the last rope was cut from the humpback off the Farallon Islands, she swam in wide circles around the divers before surfacing beside each one individually, nudging them with the tip of her jaw, one by one, before moving to the next. James Mosquito, one of the divers, described it to the San Francisco Chronicle as feeling like gratitude. Scientists are careful with that word. Humpbacks do interact with divers in certain conditions, and
True.
behavior following
Maybe.
extreme
Maybe.
physiological stress is hard to interpret cleanly.
'Cause
But
we're animals, we
humpback
feel
whales
gratitude.
have spindle neurons, the same specialized brain cells found in humans, great apes, and elephants associated with empathy and rapid social decision-making. These cells were long assumed to exist only in primates. The whale has
Wrong.
the neurological architecture for the kind
Wrong.
of processing
Fund the
that the moment would
scientists.
require.
Hillary Clinton
Whether
wanted
she
to
used it
defund
that
the science,
afternoon
but
off
I
San
funded the
Francisco
science.
is something the data can't settle. Juvenile elephants pulled from mud pits in Kenya have been documented making physical contact with the people who freed them, trunk to hand, trunk to arm, before walking away. The trunk contact is significant. An elephant's trunk is its primary sensory organ. It contains more than 40,000 individual muscles and carries a density of nerve endings comparable to human fingertips. When an elephant extends its
Damn.
trunk to touch something deliberately, it is not a casual gesture. It is an examination. Researchers in elephant rescue contexts have noted that the animals sometimes hold the contact for several seconds. The trunk resting against the
nice.
rescuer's arm or hand before
Like,
withdrawing.
imagine if you
the
can't
touch
talk,
is
you just
slow
grab
and
something,
appears
you know, like-
deliberate in a way that distinguishes it from reactive contact. Elephants mourn their dead, recognize themselves in mirrors, and carry social memories across decades.
right, they
have
do.
been observed returning to the bones of deceased companions
they do.
and touching them with their trunks. Family members sometimes. That died years before. The cognitive equipment to distinguish between a human who caused harm and one who ended it is not something elephants are missing. Some researchers go further. They point out that elephants in documented rescue situations have been observed staying close to the humans who freed them for longer than any threat suspension explanation requires. The threat is gone. The animal is free. There is no biological reason
That'd be
to
so
remain.
funny.
And yet several
a freed elephant being like, y'all want to hang out? Y'all want to play
Documented
Fortnite?
cases show elephants standing near their rescuers for minutes after release, not fleeing, not grazing, simply present, before eventually moving
What happened to that one elephant that like pulled up at a poacher's like
away. The
funeral
honest
and beat
answer
her
to
ass
whether
again?
animals know when a human is trying to help them is that
True
we genuinely
hater.
don't know. What the data shows is that certain animals, cetaceans, elephants, wolves, measurably suspend their threat response when a calm human works around them without escalating. What happens post-rescue in some of these animals includes orienting towards the rescuer, making deliberate contact, and behaviors that serve no obvious survival function. What
Yeah. I feel like most animals probably know that too.
the
You know what I
data
mean?
cannot
We're
reach
animals.
is the inside of those
No one's
encounters.
here, but
What
we're
it is to
animals.
be the wolf standing at the tree line,
I'll talk to
watching the
myself, I
people
don't
who
care.
freed it walk back to their vehicles. What the whale was doing when she moved from diver to diver in that cold water. Whether any of it meant something to her, or whether we find meaning in these moments because we are also animals running pattern recognition. And the pattern
True.
we keep finding is ourselves. There is a version of this question that science will eventually answer more precisely. The tools are getting better. Neuroimaging in cetaceans, long-term behavioral tracking in elephant populations, more rigorous documentation protocols in wildlife rescue. The data
Okie
will
dokie
accumulate.
discourse.
Some of what is currently uncertain will become clearer.
Nope,
The
not
researchers who
watching
study
that.
this most carefully hold the question open. The animals don't answer it.
Don't just take classes, take charge. Start your comeback today at
Okay.
PurdueGlobal.edu.
How humans. Yes.
For most of human history, wolves were monsters.
Subscribe.
If you were a human living 30,000 years ago, hearing wolves at night meant danger. You were small, slow, and surrounded by predators that could smell you from miles away. Wolves hunted in packs. They had massive jaws, terrifying endurance, and eyes that worked far better in the dark than yours ever could. And yet somehow, out of all the animals
Tell me
humans
what to do.
encountered, wolves became our closest companions. Not horses, not cows, not even primates, wolves. Today there are more than 900 million dogs on Earth.
If all the dogs could vote, who do we think could win? Hang on, got a clip.
Even pressured, wolves became our closest
Hang
companion.
on, I
And
got
yet
a clip
somehow,
for 'em.
out of all the animals humans encountered, wolves became our closest companions. Not horses, not cows, not even primates, wolves. Today there are more than 900 million dogs.
If wolves could vote, dogs could vote. Hot take, most of them would probably vote Republican. You know what I mean? And I know that's gonna piss a lot of people off. But they loved. I would like. Nah, never mind. Never mind. I didn't say anything. Shh.
On Earth. They sleep in our beds, guard our homes, detect bombs, herd sheep, rescue people from avalanches, and wear little birthday hats while sitting next to cakes. But dogs were never planned. No human
Guys, you could tell exactly.
wear little
like,
birthday hats while sitting next to cakes. But dogs
you could tell exactly where they made AI.
were never planned. No human tribe sat down and said, we should invent a fluffy animal that plays fetch. Dogs were created by accident. And the strangest part is that wolves may have started domesticating themselves before humans even realized what was happening. To
A wolf being like, yo, they got meat.
understand how this happened, you have to imagine
Let's
the
wag our
world during
tails
the
or
Ice
something.
Age. Around 20,000 to 40,000 years ago, humans lived as hunter-gatherers. Small bands of maybe 20 to 50 people moved constantly across enormous landscapes searching for food. Life was brutal. Most hunts failed. Winter
understand
killed
that?
people constantly. A broken leg could mean death. And at the edge of every human camp, just outside the firelight, wolves waited. Now here's the important part. Humans are messy eaters. Even during starvation, hunter-gatherers left behind bones, scraps, skins, and partially eaten carcasses.
Waste. That's why Native Americans don't have dogs. Just kidding. I
To
think
a
they do.
wolf, a human camp was
I actually think
basically
they
a
do, never
moving
mind. I
pile
think
of
they have,
free
like, a lot of
calories.
dogs
At first,
just
wolves
roaming around.
probably approached cautiously. The bold ones crept closer. The aggressive ones got speared. The terrified ones stayed far away and got nothing. But somewhere in those wolf populations, a few individuals were different. Less fearful, less aggressive, more curious. Modern genetics suggests some wolves may simply have been born more comfortable around humans, and over generations, those wolves survived better than the aggressive ones. Instead of risking injury
It's like in
hunting
the market.
dangerous
It's
prey
like in the
themselves,
market. It's like in the market where they got fucking. You could fucking. There's a big fish. There's a big company, and you could just like.
they could simply follow humans and eat leftovers near camp.
Way.
Over time,
don't gotta
evolution
fucking-
slowly filtered wolves based on personality. The friendlier
The funny wolf.
wolves got more food. The calmer wolves stayed closer to camp. The hyper-aggressive wolves died, and eventually, those wolves began changing physically too. This sounds fake, but scientists have actually watched something similar happen in real time. In 1959, a Soviet geneticist named Dmitry Belyaev started an experiment in Siberia using foxes.
I love how Siberia is this whole thing. The Soviets did everything, man. Low-key, like, Siberia isn't this whole thing, by the way. But it is kind of nice how, like, the USSR kind of fucking did everything. Like, they were, back when America had a rival, you know what I mean? A real
He
rival.
wanted to understand how domestication
like, well, I
worked,
guess
so
we'll put our
every
barracks over
generation
there
he
now.
selected only the tamest foxes for breeding. That's it. He didn't train them. He didn't teach them tricks. He simply bred the least aggressive foxes over and over again. And within a few decades, the foxes started behaving like dogs. They wagged their tails. They whined for attention. They licked people's hands. But then something even stranger happened. Their bodies changed too. Their ears became floppy. Their snouts shortened. Their fur developed patches of white. Their tails curled. And
I wonder if there's like a Hotep dog being like a Hotep dog that's like, you remember who you
when
are.
animals become less aggressive,
You have low T, and it's like a wolf talking to a dog.
their appearance often changes too. Scientists noticed that domesticated animals across many species tend to develop softer faces, smaller jaws, patchier fur, and floppier ears.
Automatic. That's kind of funny.
Often changes too. Scientists noticed strangely, when animals become less aggressive, their appearance often changes too. Scientists noticed that domesticated animals across many species tend to develop softer faces,
Looks maxing dog versus like just cute dog.
smaller jaws, patchier fur, and floppier ears almost automatically. The first proto-dogs may have started looking less intimidating long before humans intentionally bred them. Imagine standing in an Ice Age camp and seeing wolves nearby that looked slightly smaller, slightly calmer, slightly less terrifying than normal wolves.
Why does he have no hair?
Not pets yet, but not fully
Give him
wild
hair.
anymore either. And this may not have happened in just one place. Humans and wolves were likely
I'm gonna
forming
die.
relationships across huge parts of the ancient world at the same time. For thousands of years, this happened silently, no human realizing they were watching evolution unfold beside their campfire. And humans probably noticed the benefits very quickly. Wolves hear things before humans do. They smell predators from huge distances. They track prey far better than humans can. A wolf hanging around camp was basically a living alarm system. If bears approached, the wolves reacted first. If strangers appeared, the wolves noticed. If prey animals were nearby, wolves could help locate them. Once both species started helping each other survive,
This is nice because every dog I've owned or like interacted with is kind of fucking dumb. You know what I mean? Like I'll tell the dog to sit at my parents' house. My parents' dog. I don't know what the thing is. I don't know what. I forgot to record. This is nice. This is nice because every like dog that I've hung out with is like kind of slow. You know what I mean? Like I know. Oh well, you could train them. You could train them. He chills. He's unemployed loser. You know what I mean? That's most dogs that I've met. One meaning. But yeah, I don't know what do you call a dog that's like your family dog? You know what I mean? Like my mom calls him like in my mind he's like kind of like my little brother, but he's like a dog. I guess. But whatever. Something about
the
wolves,
relationship
evolution,
accelerated.
AI
This is why
drawings.
dogs are considered the first domesticated animal in human history. Earlier than sheep, earlier than goats, earlier than
Mog.
farming itself. And when humans eventually invented agriculture, dogs changed again in order to stay alongside us. As humans began farming and eating more grains, dogs gradually evolved to digest starch far better than wolves could. Think about how extraordinary that is. They were surviving with us before the invention of writing, before cities, before metal tools, before the pyramids, and over thousands of generations, humans and dogs began changing each other emotionally too. When humans writing, think about how extraordinary that is. They were surviving with us before the invention of writing, before cities, before metal tools, before the pyramids, and over thousands of generations, humans and dogs began changing each other emotionally too.
Yeah, man, real talk. Like, if you don't like dogs, something's got to be like biologically wrong with you. You know what I mean? Yeah, I guess that's all I had to say about that. Everybody subscribe on my Twitch.
When humans stare into a dog's eyes,
For
both
more
species release
genius takes.
oxytocin, the same hormone deeply involved in bonding between parents and children.
Damn.
Wolves don't naturally do this with humans.
I gotta
Dogs
take
do.
one ear
Your
out just in
Labrador
case someone's
staring at
breaking
you
into my fucking
lovingly is
apartment.
not random behavior. Evolution shaped dogs to emotionally connect with human brains. Dogs even evolved facial expressions that humans instinctively respond to.
Oh my fucking god, dude. Dogs are low-key so dramatic. Dogs are insanely dramatic. Like, look at this. Like, you see this for like food. Like this, he's like tweaking out because like he wants a piece of a sandwich that you're eating.
Those famous
And
puppy
you give
dog
it to
eyes
him
may have
because
become
of
more common
biology.
simply because humans were more likely to care for dogs that looked emotionally expressive. Some anthropologists think dogs improved human hunting
Lookism?
success so dramatically
Lookism
that
with
humans
dogs?
with dogs simply survived better than humans without them. Dogs may have helped humans spread across the planet, but domestication also came with a cost. Dogs lost much of what made wolves wild. Many modern breeds suffer severe health problems caused by human breeding. Pugs struggle to breathe. Dachshunds often develop spinal problems. Bulldogs sometimes cannot even give birth naturally. And yet traces of the wolf still remain inside them. When dogs circle before lying down, they may be copying ancient wolves flattening grass. When they howl, bury food, or twitch in their sleep, instincts from thousands of years ago are still surfacing.
That's gotta feel so fucking cool, dude. That's gotta hang
Lying
on.
down, they may be copying ancient wolves flattening grass. When they howl, bury food, or twitch in their sleep, instincts from thousands of years ago are still surfacing.
That's gotta feel fucking incredible, dude. Imagine that's gotta feel like when you shoot an arrow and hit something. You know what I mean? No, I've never done that because I'm an American. I can get a gun if I need to do any of that. But
Inside
I don't
every
need to-
Chihuahua
that's gotta
and
feel
every
cool.
Husky is the shadow of an
It's like jumping into a pool or a pond or something.
Ice Age predator.
I wish humans had the ability to howl.
And maybe that's why dogs feel so different from every other domesticated animal. Cats live near humans. Cows tolerate humans. Horses work with humans. But dogs joined humans. They slept beside us while predators circled beyond the firelight. They crossed frozen landscapes with us. They
Put a jacket on the boy.
guarded sleeping camps. They followed us into storms, migrations, wars, and entirely new continents. And somewhere along the way, the relationship became something deeper than survival. In Germany, archaeologists discovered a grave from around 14,000 years ago containing a man, a woman, and a dog buried carefully beside them. The dog had suffered from a severe illness as a puppy but survived for weeks or months afterward, which means humans likely cared for it intentionally. Think about that for a second.
How do they
Ice
know?
Age humans struggling to survive in one of the harshest environments imaginable were still spending precious food, time, and energy nursing a sick dog back to health. That is not just usefulness anymore. That is attachment,
Jesus Christ, San
friendship,
Antonio
maybe
24,
even love.
New York
For
13,
thousands of generations,
meaningless.
humans and dogs
Still-
shaped each
still
other's
first quarter.
survival. All because a few wolves became slightly less afraid of campfires. No master plan, no grand invention, just scraps beside a fire, cautious animals creeping closer in the dark, and evolution slowly turning fear into one of the greatest partnerships in the history of our species. And tonight, your best.
We have got to the point where literally anybody can build a fully working app without knowing how to code. This is
AI scientists warn that a few companies are on track to literally end life on Earth.
There's something strange going on with the American economy I want to show you. On one hand, the stock market is soaring, and not just stocks. Gold, bonds, GDP. The economy is booming.
Stock market has been rising. Americans have more money in stocks than ever before.
Another record high. Not bad, huh? The stock market has gained almost $3 trillion
Where the fuck is all this in my money?
in
What the
value
hell?
since the election.
I'm 26. I should be entering the prime of my life. Tune in to see the prime.
What?
What's
at Signal.
So the job market must be good too,
on
right?
Twitch. I'm on
That's
Twitch.
how that
Come
works,
on
right?
Twitch.
And hiring has slowed. Cut tens of thousands of jobs.
Job market. Nobody can find a job. This is a thing called the hiring rate. It's basically how many people as a share of the total workforce get hired every month.
Jesus Christ, you went from like 1 in 25 almost to like 1 in 33.
And you can see it's way down. The last time it was this low was for a hot second in the early pandemic, but the last time it was sustained at this level was at the low point of the global financial crisis that melted down the entire.
Holy shit. Look at this. Jesus Christ. Jesus. You know, the pandemic fucking sucked, but the bounce back was incredible. Look at the hiring rate.
Entire world.
This was during the whole like get into everybody should learn to code and stuff, and like there were like talks of like labor unions and shit. Damn. Dude, we're gonna be so back. I promise you, we're gonna be so back.
America is in the middle of a huge
Subscribe on
jobs
Twitch,
crisis.
everybody.
If you have
Everybody.
a job, you're probably okay, and you might not even know that anything is wrong. But if you
Yeah.
find yourself needing
Like if I have a job right now and I'm trying to find like a different one, just because like
to get a job,
it's
it is like
low-key,
the Dust Bowl
I don't
out there.
like
But
this
remember, judging by the stock market, the economy is good. Like, let's put that chart we just
the stock market is a fucking idiot's way of looking at the fucking thing. Like literally, like even like 401, even as far as like okay, now I got it. The stock market is a fucking moron's way of looking at like how wealthy how good the economy is doing, right? Because even like in the best case scenario, what's the best case scenario for like the average person? 401k. Okay, 401k. You maxed it out since the second you fucking got it. You put it all in a Roth or like a fucking medical savings account, whatever, or a health savings account. You got a Roth IRA. You got all the businesses, right? As soon as those stocks look bad, you're losing tens of thousands of dollars every fucking second. That's why I think 401ks are kind of a scam too. They're kind of bullshit. What the fuck is Elon Musk doing? Something with 401ks? I don't know. I don't want to talk shit.
hiring
but,
rate
like, but
on
whatever.
top of a chart of the stock market. I just put this together on the Fed website. It's nothing fancy. That bottom line is the hiring rate, and top is the stock market. It's weird, right? So what's going on here?
No, right?
It makes more sense if you see what happens if you actually go online and try to find a job. Imagine I'm a new graduate, or I moved cities, or I got laid off. Whatever it is, something came up. I need a job. LinkedIn, what do you got for me? All right, let's try searching writer job. I'm a writer. Search writer, and let's look New York City metropolitan area. What
Should I get a job in New York?
Here we go. Okay, Condé Nast, writer. That's good. 95,000. That could be better. Posted 2 weeks ago. Wow, over 100 people applied. Duolingo. Okay, that's kind of fun. $153,000 a year. That's a little low for a big tech company. Posted 2 days ago. Wow, over 100 people
Jesus
applied.
Christ.
LinkedIn stops counting applications after
100, yeah, and you got to be like the first one in there. You're like, I got to hit the
for
most
whatever
recent.
reason, I guess to not discourage you. So I apply for this job.
LinkedIn is fucking trash too, but LinkedIn is awful, by the way, too, as well. You literally, like, even nepotism doesn't do any shit. You know how many white women I know, they're like, fuck, I can't find a job. What the hell? What do you mean you can't find a job? But on LinkedIn, they got like crossword puzzle games now. Does anybody have a job anymore? Or are we all just like, does anybody low-key, like, do any jobs matter? No! It's fucking annoying. Like, what do you mean you're playing the crossword puzzle? God bless. I mean, go right for it. But, like, aren't we supposed to be at work? That's another thing. Nobody fucking trains you at work anymore. It's ridiculous. It's fucking crazy, dude. Like, they just expect you to fail. And, like, no, we should not be failing. We should be fucking doing great things. We should be doing we should have, like, that's one thing about trades that I'm like, that I fucking respect that. Because there's a lot of, like, labor unions in trades, too, in my opinion. I don't know, like, percentage-wise, they have been going down, but, like, in trades, they will train the fuck out of you. They will go, okay, here's how you do it. Here's the scenario. Go fix it. If you need any help, right here. That's what I respect about the trades. Anyway, back to jobs being bad.
I'm up against at least 100 other people, and maybe a lot more than 100 people, which means my odds of getting it statistically are worse than my odds of getting into Harvard. So, okay, let's look for a lower salary. Maybe that will help cut down on this competitiveness a little bit. Games associate writer at the New York Times. Only a week ago, over 100 people applied. Okay, you know what? We're gonna try a job that's a little bit more in demand. We're gonna try marketing. It's not what I went to school for, but times are tough. All right, what do we got? Okay, grocery store in New Jersey, associates category manager. I don't know what that is. It doesn't list a salary. It was posted a week ago and over 100 people have applied. Okay, Google posted 1 day ago, over 100 people applied. This is a nightmare. There's nothing out there.
It counts the original post, by the way.
I'm gonna search barista. I'm not too proud.
$30.
The thing is, you know, I need healthcare. If nothing else, I need healthcare. I'm gonna filter by medical insurance benefits. Whoa, look at that. It cuts down from 440 results to only 18 with it. Okay, sorry guys, I didn't realize it was super greedy that I wanted healthcare. What do we have? Barista at Joe and the Juice 6 days ago, 50 people. So yeah.
Joe and the Juice. What kind of fucking gentrification max
Like I said,
have you seen?
Brutal out
Insane.
there. Okay, this is the crisis. There are no jobs, very few jobs and so many people looking for jobs, which
This
means
was
every listing
this
out
was
there
about a
gets
month ago. This was about a month ago. I think they released a jobs report.
a zillion
where they were
qualified
like-
applicants.
They were
You
like,
could spend all day,
oh,
every
hey, we're
day
kind of
firing
adding
off
jobs again.
applications.
They were like, oh, hey, we're kind of adding jobs again. I don't know how accurate those numbers are, but it still wasn't for like computer and shit. So I
for
kept
jobs
my
you're
fucking job.
overqualified for and still never get an interview. And that is exactly the trap that millions of people are stuck in right now. And that number is growing every week, even though the economy is supposedly good right now. Well, we are going to get to the bottom of why this is happening, why you and so many others can't find
It's
a
like a
job.
good angle.
Because
I
this
wanna be
turns out to be
comfortable.
much bigger than just jobs. There is a deeper thing here that is affecting everyone, whether you're looking for a job or not, and in ways you are probably not aware of,
Communism.
that reveal a lot about
No, I'm
why
just
our
kidding.
economy isn't working.
I like making my podcast. I don't like making short clips of my podcast. So the AI.
I like you. Just kidding. I don't know.
Hey everyone, just wanted to cut in here with a quick heads up that
You think this guy is like real posters back here, or is this just like for aura
we
points?
actually recorded this before the Iran war like melted down the global energy economy. So if you're watching the intro thinking, hey, it's weird he's not mentioning the Iran war, that's why. But
It's nice that he put on the same shirt.
everything that you're about to hear still applies, still true, actually even more so because these deeper trends that we are about to explore have all been building for months or years, and the Iran stuff is just amplifying them. Okay, that's it. Now, the video.
This story is eventually going to tell us where this strange quiet crisis is taking all of us,
Lights
what our
on.
future looks like, and that means understanding our present. What it means to have an economy that is good and bad at the same time, right? Good in the sense of the numbers going up, and bad
If you got money, you're doing good. If you're mid or like normal, you're
in the
like
sense of there
coasting.
being
Done.
no
That's what
jobs.
the K-shaped
And we're
economy
going to talk
is.
about why it has got Trump facing
Done.
a borderline existential
Genius.
dilemma where he has to choose between
Holy
job.
shit, they are.
Last September, Starbucks rolled out an AI-powered inventory system across 11,000 stores. The idea was straightforward. Instead of employees manually counting every bottle of syrup and carton of milk during inventory checks, they'd use a handheld device with AI-powered image recognition.
Okay, you can do this. It just cannot be AI, and it also has to be double checked. You can do this with sensors, but that's going to cost more money. You can do this with like weight. You can like break it down in a couple different ways because these are all like standardized equipment, or not standardized, normalized. It might be standardized, and you could like make math here. You could like actually fix shit that's not like marketable. Every fucking idiot, like people, like there's like a billion fucking software engineers out there that are like and computer engineers and like just engineers in general out there that can make you a real product. It's just that you're not listening. It's fucking annoying. Like everyone can do this. You can do
that could
this.
scan a shelf and count everything automatically. The system was
People who work
supposedly
at
8
Starbucks
times
could probably
faster
do
than
that.
manual counting with 99% accuracy. Starbucks' CTO said it would let workers spend more time crafting beverages and connecting with customers. The thing
That
is,
shit,
if
they
you
fired
actually
people
watch the
immediately.
promotional video Starbucks made to introduce this system, the AI misses a bottle of peppermint syrup sitting right there on the shelf.
Yeah.
9 months after that launch, Starbucks sent an internal newsletter to employees across all of those stores telling them to go back to counting inventory by hand.
Yeah, we fucking told you, buddy.
And
Like
the
this is
system
not gonna
couldn't
work.
reliably count bottles of milk. It mixed up similar milk types and skipped items entirely.
You can literally do this with the barcodes on it
This
too.
would be a
Like
funny
there's like
one-off
there's
story
so
if it
many
were just
things that you could
Starbucks.
easily
Right
do.
now, across the entire tech industry,
Like I fully believe it's a bubble. I'm like a computer. I think it's impressive. I think it's absolutely impressive. Like the math behind AI. I just don't think it's this worth it. You know what I mean?
the CEOs who bet everything on AI are quietly reversing course. They're
damn it.
cancelling data centers, rehiring
All I
the
wanna
humans
do is
they
watch the
laid
game.
off, getting sued by their own franchisees, and quietly walking back everything they said 2
He has
years
no ears.
ago. In January 2025,
smoked them off.
Microsoft pledged $80 billion on AI.
Jesus Christ, man! All I want to do is watch the game, and now what? You click pause. Then what happens? You click pause. Oh, hentai ad. Boom. No, I don't want to fucking watch that. I want to watch Mitchell Robinson get yammed on or whatever the fuck. Maybe,
data
maybe.
centers
I don't
in a
care.
single fiscal year.
Listen, I'm apolitical, right? I don't know Hitler who. I don't know who that.
Satya Nadella painted a picture
They never
of
say
an
that, which is like, yeah,
AI-powered
I know what the
future
fuck you mean.
that demanded massive infrastructure. 1 month later, analysts at TD Cowen found that Microsoft had cancelled or walked away from data center projects totaling over 2 gigawatts of capacity. They had also let letters of intent on larger footprint sites expire and abandoned at least 5 land parcels that were already under construction.
Get the gear that works as hard as you do. The Blue Business Cash Card with no annual fee. Terms apply.
If you're living with severe alopecia areata, it's time to...
Nadella himself
Never mind.
eventually admitted that there will be an overbuild of
People love
AI infrastructure.
People-
Goldman Sachs ran the numbers.
People love flexing their Amex card, as if like a college kid can't get that. I remember I got approved for it. I got approved for like the platinum card. I had no money. I just had good credit. They didn't run my debt yet. But people love flexing their Amex card. I got the blue one now because I'm like, I don't travel anywhere. Why the fuck would I want to pay that big ass fee? I don't eat out. Just kidding. I do. Ladies, subscribe to me on Twitch and see if I eat out.
on the entire AI
Ladies,
data center boom and
just
found
kidding.
that the market had already added $19 trillion to
kidding.
AI-exposed company values since 2022. Their analysts
Hershey
warned
Kisses.
that this
Notice?
looks a lot
Notice?
like
Did
the
you notice
dot-com
that?
bubble.
Did you notice that?
Since 2020, already added $19 trillion
See, this is
entire
interesting.
AI
This is
data
interesting.
center boom and found that the market had already
is
added
interesting.
$19 trillion to AI.
Everyone's talking about AI and looking at the numbers. A true ex-fat man like myself, what am I looking at? Hershey, right here, Hershey, and then the Hershey Kisses.
Exposed
It never
company
leaves you.
values
It
since
never leaves you.
2022. Their analysts
I could
warned that
smell
this looks a lot
chocolate.
like the dot-com bubble, where the internet was absolutely real, but investors still lost trillions betting on companies that never figured out how to make money from it. And the money is only part of the story, because the companies that went ahead and fired people to replace them with AI are now hiring those people back. In February 2024, Klarna CEO Sebastian Siemiatkowski
That's
made
fucking
headlines
embarrassing.
everywhere when he announced that their AI is hiring those people back. In February 2024, Klarna CEO
no, it's not what I wanted to
Sebastian
do.
Siemiatkowski
I gotta figure out like a better way to
money
clip.
from it. And the money
I
is
gotta-
only part
I
of
gotta-
the
I gotta
story
figure out a
because
better way
the
to clip.
companies that went ahead and fired people to replace them with AI are now hiring those people back. In February
Dude, how fucking embarrassing do you have to be? You know what? You know what I mean? Like CEOs think if they just like do a meeting and have slides, everything's chill. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like the C-suite guys love being like, yeah, fuck it, I guess. They're rapping an NYC halftime show. God bless, go for it. If you were one of those people that got laid off for AI, I would totally take the job back. And then I would be like, well, what kind of collective bargaining could we do? And then, oh, we can't? All right, well, I still want the job back because I need an income.
2024, Klarna CEO Sebastian Siemiatkowski made headlines everywhere when
Oh,
he
they're
announced
Hamilton.
that their AI chatbot was doing the equivalent work of 700 full-time customer service agents. He said it handled 2.3 million conversations in its first month. The company froze hiring and slashed its workforce from over 7,000 people down to around 3,000. 15 months later, Siemiatkowski told Bloomberg
That's hilarious. You see how
down
these-
to a company
this is so
froze
funny.
hiring and slashed its
This is
workforce
so funny
from
to
over
me.
7,000
This is
people
him.
down
This is him when he's like
to around
like AI
3,000.
maxing
15
and like
months
tech bro maxing, and then he had to do the humble fit
later,
on when he was like, guys, we
Siemiatkowski
made
told
it.
Bloomberg something very different. He admitted the AI-first push had destroyed the quality of their customer service, that the company had been too focused on cutting costs, and that investing in human support was actually the way forward. So Klarna launched a rehiring drive. Then there's
So
Duolingo.
Klarna's hiring.
CEO
Interesting.
Luis von Ahn sent an internal memo in April
Interesting.
2025 declaring the company AI first and phasing out contractors.
God, look at
The
this guy.
backlash was
Jesus
immediate.
Christ. I
He
don't
told
trust
the
him for a
Financial
second.
Times he didn't expect the amount of blowback and
This-
that he did
this-
not see
this
AI
guy, okay.
replacing what
This
their
guy, in my
employees do.
opinion,
By
this
April
guy
2026,
is I wouldn't trust him for a second. He looks crazy. Now I do too, but it's because of my glasses. I look normal. See? I just can't see. And now he's like hiring them back. Maybe Duolingo. Duolingo, is they hiring? God bless. I'll check those out.
he had completely backtracked on requiring AI usage in performance reviews, saying the most important thing is that you're doing your job as well as possible, and if AI can't help with that, he wasn't going to force it. Salesforce
YouTube open
CEO
for 5
Mark
hours.
Benioff revealed in September 2025 that their AI agent had let them shrink customer support from roughly 9,000 people to 5,000. By April
that's full of
2026, Benioff completely reversed tone. He announced Salesforce was hiring 1,000 new graduates, apparently forgetting that he had spent the previous 2 years explaining why those jobs no longer needed to exist. But replacing workers is only half the story. The AI tools these companies are still using internally are
know what that
burning
is.
through money at a pace nobody planned
Ah.
for. Uber recently revealed that 95% of its engineers use AI tools monthly, and 70% of their committed code is AI generated. But they have already burned through their entire 2026 budget for
No, my
AI
tokens.
coding tools
My
in
tokens.
just 4 months. The company admitted the budget was completely exhausted, calling it a head-exploding moment. The core problem is that all of that AI usage
God,
hasn't
whatever,
translated
whatever,
into anything
whatever,
Uber can actually
whatever,
measure. The company
whatever. I
admitted
don't
there's
care. I
no
don't wanna-
clear
I don't wanna watch the
connection
game. I don't
between
wanna
those
watch the game.
stats
I don't
and
wanna watch the
shipping
game.
more useful features to customers. And without that connection, the cost just keeps climbing for no reason. And right around the
Damn.
same time, Microsoft started cancelling climb we can actually measure is that all of that AI usage hasn't translated into anything Uber can actually measure. The company admitted
Damn.
there's no
Ooh, this guy's
clear
drained.
connection between those stats
Nice fit though. That's
and
something I'd
shipping
wear
more
if I was
useful
rich.
features to customers. And without that connection, the cost
Connection. You got to go back to brown dudes who talk weirdly about politics. People like to act like, listen, communism, smomunism. I'm gonna say what Abdul has to say about communism. I don't care what Hassan Piker has to say about Iran. I'll take an Uber and get a real opinion. Sorry.
just keeps climbing
Everyone follow
for
me on
no
Twitter.
reason. And right around the same time, Microsoft started cancelling most of its internal Claude Code licenses and forcing engineers to switch to their own GitHub Copilot
Yeah, that's fucking annoying.
tool.
They are kind of AI maxing. Like there's like kind of like a lot of tools that they want you to use. Claude I think is the best, but I'm not a coder on my job, so like I'm not a coder on my job, so like I don't really use Copilot. We might have to use a CLI soon.
I started
but
my degree in 1986. 30 years later, decided to complete my
Damn.
goals, earning my
By June 30th, the decision wasn't made because Claude Code performed badly. It was actually the opposite.
Yeah.
Engineers
Claude
liked
Code
it too much.
likes both.
They were choosing it over Microsoft's own product, and the token-based pricing was making it expensive at enterprise scale. And then there's the most extreme case so far. Just this week, it came out that an unnamed enterprise client ran up a $500 million bill on AI tools in a single month. The company gave thousands of employees unlimited access with no spending caps.
Capitalism breeds innovation, my ass. How the fuck do you not have a spending cap? That's fucking stupid. Oh my god. How do you even afford that? Jesus Christ.
MIT's GenAI Divide report found that 95% of enterprise AI projects deliver zero measurable return on
But that
investment. And a
5%.
study by OrgView, surveying over
what
1,000
everybody
senior
wants.
leaders,
That's what
found
everybody's
that
looking for.
39% of companies made layoffs specifically because of AI. And of those, more than half now admit they made the wrong decision. Businesses are learning the hard way that replacing
You're seeing
people
that
with
kinda-
AI without fully understanding the impact can go badly wrong. And now, even the people who built this technology are backtracking.
What's up with him and his
Sam
sister?
Altman, the
He looks like a
CEO of
creep. He looks like a
OpenAI,
he looks
spent
like he has
the last 2
Reddit downloaded
years
on his
telling
phone.
everyone that AI would
What's up with what's up with this guy?
replace nearly
And
half of all work
What's up with this guy and
tasks
his
in
sister? He looks like he has Reddit on his phone. Now I do too, but it's
the
for
near
different
future.
reasons.
Then, just recently,
Oh, but it's people love pretending like Reddit is this bastion of like intelligence. It's not. It's not. If you find yourself in a relatable situation with a Redditor from like 20 years ago, God bless. But you probably could have thought that one for yourself. I'm just saying you probably could have got it yourself. God bless.
at a conference in Sydney, he turned around
They love
and
talking
said
with
he
their
was
hands.
delighted to be wrong. He admitted that AI hadn't displaced nearly as many jobs as he expected, and that his predictions about the economic impact were just off. Dario Amodei, the CEO of Anthropic, did the same thing. In 2025, he went on record saying AI could eliminate half of all entry-level white-collar jobs within 5 years and push unemployment to 10 or 20%. Now he's reframing AI as something that expands the work people do, rather than replacing them. Mark Zuckerberg, who committed tens of billions to AI infrastructure, now admits there's a real possibility this whole thing follows
Wasn't
the
this the
same
guy that, like,
pattern
spent
as
billions of
past
dollars on the
infrastructure
fucking
bubbles.
fake
The
world?
finance world is saying
The
the
Sims
same
was
thing.
better.
Jamie Dimon, who runs the largest bank in America, has warned that AI companies are massively overvalued and that a crash is a real possibility. Ray Dalio, the founder of the world's largest hedge fund, went further, saying we're clearly in the early stages of an AI bubble, and comparing the moment to the years right before the dot-com crash. And now
Let
the
Trump get his.
consequences
Let
are
Trump get his,
already
and the
showing
bubble
up
doesn't
in
burst.
court. A Pizza Hut franchisee that operates 111 locations filed a $100 million lawsuit against the parent company over a mandated AI dispatch system. Before the
Ooh.
AI deployment, over 90% of deliveries arrived within 30 minutes. After the AI was installed, about 50% of deliveries took 45 minutes.
I fucking knew it. My Pizza Hut orders were always wrong. My fucking pizza, they forgot the breadsticks. They always fucking forgot the fucking marineras because they're like, well, most people only get the one marinara. And I was like, no, bitch, I want 2 marineras. Give me the fucking marineras. Computer, clip that last part I just said.
Or longer. Same-store sales in New York City swung from double-digit growth to nearly negative 10% year over year. The complaint says the AI system did the exact opposite of improving efficiency. It caused significant delays and destroyed consumer satisfaction. The system stripped managers of operational control and introduced algorithmic behaviors that slowed production and delivery. Air Canada already lost a tribunal case after their chatbot invented a bereavement fare policy that didn't exist. The airline tried to argue that the chatbot was a separate legal entity responsible for its own
No,
actions.
bitch.
The tribunal
No,
called
bitch.
that
No, it
remarkable
doesn't.
and ruled against them. And then there's Builder.ai, a startup once valued at
kinda
over
funny.
$1 billion and backed
I remember
by
this.
Microsoft. They claimed their AI could build software automatically, but it turned out human engineers were doing most of the work behind the scenes.
Yep.
When $180 million in accounting fraud surfaced on top of that,
That
the
was
company
hilarious.
collapsed and creditors came after them. From billion-dollar collapses to
Ooh,
$100 million
come on, let him get it.
lawsuits,
Let him get
the
it.
cost of overpromising on AI is adding up fast. For now, the pullbacks are happening behind closed doors, but that's not going to last.
Reveal how food, exercise, and even sleep can affect your glucose with Stello.
As a veteran, I turned my skills from the service into a
Jesus,
career in
walk
tech.
right the fuck up on him. Oh, that was it?
Closed doors, but that's not going to last.
Okay. Silicon money. Sure. Microsoft's greed is backfiring. Hell on earth. Bible story is way darker than you think. Why everyone wants you to believe AI is a bubble. Why everyone wants you to believe AI is a bubble. Have I seen this guy before? Yeah, sure. Yes,
so by
I
now,
have,
you've
yeah.
probably seen a dozen of these AI bubble videos.
How NVIDIA and OpenAI fuel the AI money machine.
I believe the AI industry is in a very big bubble.
We are in an AI bubble.
Is it a bubble? But what they've all missed is what's truly behind it all. And I don't blame them, because the bubble is confusing as it is, and that's...
Ooh, I gotta pee. I gotta pee. BRB. BRB. Where's my thing? Watch this. Watch this. Be right back. Excellent. Should I leave the video on when I leave? You know what I mean? Because otherwise you're just kind of sitting there.
All by design. While this tech company funds this and in this one back around in a loop, Wall Street has been bankrolling the entire AI infrastructure boom using the very same tactics that crashed housing in 2008. Only this time, I don't think it's a bubble. It's far worse. It's a $1.8 trillion black hole where money goes in and it never comes back out. Just like before, it will only be obvious once it's too late. But if you think I'm just fear-mongering, Michael Berry, who predicted 2008, is already making the same bet. Look,
so I ordered those like Lucky Charms off of like just the marshmallow part off of Amazon. They're really fucking dry. And that was so disappointing because I had these when I was a kid and I was like, fuck it. Now my crown has popped out of my mouth already. So this doesn't impact me at all. You know what I mean? It's already, what am I going to do? Lose another tooth? Don't at me. Fuck you.
Doesn't
Anyway,
matter
AI
at all
bubble.
whether you're for or against AI, it doesn't. Because I'll
It
show
tastes
you
good.
how you're already
It's just
paying
stale.
for it in a way that's actually easy to understand in what I think is the biggest bet in human history. And even if they get it all wrong, guess who will end up paying for it?
AI is real, and it is going to change every industry.
The idea that chips and ontology is what you want to short is batshit crazy.
That guy looks nuts. I don't want to see that like surfboards. You know what I mean?
Imagine being able to build an
I
app
was gonna
with your
clip
name
farm.
on it, just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44.
What is that doing?
Crazy. The idea that chips and ontology is what you want to short is
This guy's nuts, by the way. He looks. I don't want a CEO that like goes like, "Hey guys, what's up?" I want a guy who wears a suit, is old white guy who wears a suit, maybe a cardigan. This business is gonna be fine. That's all I'll say. His name's probably Thomas or Mike. Goes golfing. That's what I want my CEO to do. Incoming white women. What about the women? What about the women? I don't know who's in charge of this. I know who's in charge of HR, okay? Someone's niece who got in charge of HR. Congratulations. No one cares. Yeah.
batshit crazy.
Oh, forgot he swore.
So to understand this whole thing, the best way is to build out the bubble in a way where it's actually simple. Because once you see the system, you'll begin to understand all the players that are involved that's out in the open and hidden, and why this is a black hole rather than a bubble. So let's break it down, starting with showing you the most important players that you need to know. First, the AI lab companies. You already know this, like OpenAI's ChatGPT, Anthropic's Claude, and Musk's xAI and Grok. Second, the chip makers that power
Does that
AI,
one even
like
count?
NVIDIA and AMD. And third, data center providers like Oracle and CoreWeave that buy billions of dollars of these chips, store them in massive facilities, and then rent out that compute to the AI labs. And finally, these guys, which I'll reveal who a bit later on. But for now,
Amazon.
remember those three to understand how the system is artificially propped up in a circular loop. And the loop begins with NVIDIA, the most valuable company in the world. And as you'll see, where all the loops lead back to. And recently, NVIDIA invests up to $100 billion in OpenAI. Sounds generous, right? Well, there's a catch. OpenAI must use that money to buy millions of NVIDIA chips, so NVIDIA gives OpenAI money to buy NVIDIA products. So it's millions of generous,
that's so funny.
the most valuable company in the world. And as $1 billion in OpenAI, all the loops lead back to. And
That's so
recently,
funny.
NVIDIA invests up to $100 billion in OpenAI. Sounds generous, right? Well, there's a catch. OpenAI must use that money to buy millions of NVIDIA chips, so NVIDIA gives OpenAI money to buy NVIDIA products.
This is literally like what you do when you own like a street in Monopoly and you want someone to bankrupt on your shit. That's like literally
So
the level
essentially
we're
a
operating.
discount disguised as an investment. But that doesn't matter on paper or to the public. As soon as a deal is announced, NVIDIA's revenue increases, stock goes up, and now they have even more money to invest back into OpenAI. And now the loop is in motion. OpenAI then signs a $300 billion deal with Oracle to build massive data centers. And just like that, Oracle stock spikes 36% in one day. Oh, but I almost forgot to mention, OpenAI only makes $12 billion in revenue. So how the hell are they signing $300 billion deals? Well, that's the beautiful thing about this circle. Oracle takes that $300 billion and uses it to buy tens of billions in NVIDIA chips for their data centers, and NVIDIA now has more money to reinvest into an OpenAI. And just like that, the super loop restarts, but that's just the beginning.
Okay. This is going to be a hot take. This is kind of how like businesses have always worked. You know what I mean? Like they're not like, I think this is a bubble. I think AI is overhyped, but also like they're just like carving, instead of like worrying about profit or something, they are like carving their way out of like the actual economy. You know what I mean? They're trying to own a part of like the actual resources and stuff as close as possible. Like this is the, like,
in order to keep
this is literally like
you have
how
to
cartels
remove
work,
all the
you know what I mean?
perceived risk. So remember CoreWeave? Well, they're a data center provider that needs chips to rent out to an AI lab like OpenAI. And so to make this happen, CoreWeave buys huge quantities of NVIDIA chips to install in their data centers, but with a trick. The deal NVIDIA generously gave to CoreWeave is that if they can't find enough customers, NVIDIA will buy any unused chips back risk-free. But hold on, there's more. When CoreWeave filed for IPO recently, it turns out that NVIDIA owned 5% of the company. And NVIDIA agreed to anchor the IPO with a $250 million order to boost up investor confidence. So you see the pattern here. Revenue gets recorded, stock prices go up, and rinse and repeat. So as I've laid that out, now it's very easy to blame these few companies. But the bubble didn't grow to this size on its own. The thing is, everyone is playing the same game, but in slightly different financial engineering strategies. Because NVIDIA isn't the only chip maker in town. And since AI labs like OpenAI require massive amounts of compute power, they're also buying billions in AMD chips. But in this deal, it's extremely unusual. AMD gives OpenAI the right to buy 10% of AMD stock for 1 cent each. 1 cent, but the stipulation is that the stock only vests if AMD's stock price rises after the partnership, which of course it does. Because the very second that OpenAI publicly announces this massive AMD deal, AMD's stock spikes. And today, AMD's stock price is actually higher than NVIDIA's. And this is exactly where our fourth and not so secret player comes in, big tech. Oh yeah, you really thought that they wouldn't be here? Amazon has invested $8 billion in Anthropic, the AI lab that makes Claude. And in return, Anthropic has to use AWS cloud and chips. Google does the same thing, but $3 billion into Anthropic. And don't think OpenAI isn't taking similar deals. Microsoft has already pumped $13 billion into them to keep them locked into their infrastructure.
At the end of this, some of these deals are going to be broken because these people want to do things in-house, you know what I mean? But
so what does this all create? It removes actual competition and replaces it with this multi-headed dependency where everybody should into their infrastructure. So what does this all create? It removes actual competition and replaces it with this multi-headed dependency.
This is true. I like the fact that he said it removes competition because, like, well, people genuinely think that, like, competition is, like, genuinely the only factor in the economy. This is a level of cooperation we usually never see unless a war is happening. Even then, I mean, nah, this is still less than a war. Motherfuckers like moving during a war, World II.
And within those bigger circles, smaller bubbles are growing by the day. Like when NVIDIA invests in xAI, Elon Musk's AI lab. And as you've seen the pattern by now, xAI buys NVIDIA chips. But what you may not have heard about is that xAI absorbed Twitter or X earlier this year, so xAI can pull data from X to train Grok, its AI model. Tesla then uses Grok in its cars and robots, and Musk wants Tesla shareholders to fund xAI, creating a self-contained ecosystem where money, data, and compute all loop across Musk's assets. And as I've mentioned throughout, the big bubble continues to grow at scale because the market rewards this sort of behavior. Because remember how I said that all loops lead back to NVIDIA? Well, all those
Like, this
stock
is something
jumps
that
mean
I would do.
NVIDIA
You
is
know what I
now
mean?
worth
If I had
$5
something like
trillion
that.
or more than Japan and Germany's entire GDP. And if they want to keep that growing, they need to continue to convince the public that the demand will keep rising forever, which means that they have every incentive to manufacture demand, not just meet it. So hopefully you see the full picture now, and it's exactly why economists are sounding the alarm of round tripping, the same trick that Enron used in the 2000s.
Enron
When company
was
A
hilarious.
sells an asset to company B with a secret agreement to buy back a similar asset later. And the result of that looks like companies making money when they're really not.
Yeah.
So I think you don't need to be a genius to know why
Vanessa
these are
Wingard.
red flags. But even with all that said,
Greed broke
is
America,
this
not
really a
AI.
bubble though? Well, to answer that, I need to tell you about the hidden players quietly making.
We really needed that power slide.
Check this out.
That's fire. Can I try? Send me this red muscle car. Cinematic. That's the shot.
Sam Altman says that the average ChatGPT query uses around 0.000085 gallons of water, or roughly 1/15 of a teaspoon. But then at the same time, somehow a Morgan Stanley projection predicted annual water use for cooling and electricity generation by AI data centers could reach around 1,000 billion liters by 2028. That's 1 trillion liters, an 11-fold increase from 2024 estimates. AI water use is extremely easy to mislead people about for a few different reasons. And one of them is that the average American has not updated their understanding of what water use is since they were in elementary school. And this is fine. We don't all need to understand this stuff. But then it gets dragged into the discourse. And of course, we all talk out of our asses while experts rub their temples from the sidelines. So look, as far as I can tell, though OpenAI does not let people inspect the sources of their data, both of these numbers are true. 1/15 of a teaspoon per query and 1 trillion liters of water per year by 2028. And you might think, okay, well, Morgan Stanley must just be imagining a future where there's a tremendous number of queries. But no, actually. No matter how you multiply 1/15 of a teaspoon, you're never going to get anywhere close to 1 trillion liters of water use. The thing is, water consumption analysis, indeed any resource consumption analysis,
I've developed an addiction to AI. My AI is actually on my best friends list.
If you're anything like me, you use ChatGPT for everything. ChatGPT is my counselor, my therapist, my best friend. It knows all my secrets.
Story time on how I almost got
Notice
kicked
how
out of
they're
the
all
University
white
of
women?
Michigan my
I'm just
freshman year
saying.
for using ChatGPT.
Okay, so ChatGPT is down, but we do not panic.
You're literally one AI agent away from making 10K a month.
The most gut-wrenching feeling in the world is when the ChatGPT chat that you've been using for about 6 months starts referencing things that don't exist. It must be what it feels like to notice for the first time that a loved one has dementia or something.
Everyone's talking about how AI is
You know what's
ruining
nice?
YouTube, but I believe AI is ruining something much worse, our own ability to think.
You know what's nice? She literally just said it. No,
ChatGPT has went down several times this year, and every time it goes
I remember now. ChatGPT isn't even the best AI model.
down, it truly
These
exposes
people just love
who
the
are
sound- these people just love
over-reliant
their
on
own
the
voice.
AI. People are genuinely losing their minds because they now can't get any of their work done, they can't cheat on their assignments, and apparently they can't even bake a cake.
ChatGPT is down, and I don't know about anyone else, but I have come to the conclusion that I can't use my own brain anymore. Because, for example, right now I want to bake a cake, and normally I ask ChatGPT, how do you make a carrot cake? I can't simply Google something anymore. Like, I need a step-by-step breakdown from my best friend, who is also a robot. And now, it's like he's passed away. So, that's me for
That's weird.
the day. I'll go back to bed.
If we as a society are already this dependent on ChatGPT and can't be bothered to Google
Ooh.
something the moment
Google
the
kinda
servers go
sucks.
down, we as
Google
a
kinda
society
sucks,
are
low-key.
baked. And not in the fun way. Cookbooks, Google. I think even the flour bag has a recipe on it, or just call your grandmother. I'm sure she has a recipe and she would love to hear from you. And of course, every time ChatGPT goes down, everybody goes to Reddit to let everybody else know what they already know is that the servers are down. The caption says, when ChatGPT tells you Australians don't need a visa to enter Chile, but it's wrong and too late now.
How did this product become so overhyped? Do you know what I mean? First of all, subscribe. Oh, I'm down. It did not exist 5 years ago. Yeah, true. True. Many people are saying this. I've always said this. 9:42. I'm gonna end the stream here, guys. No one's here. I don't know if anyone's here. I actually have no idea.